The smile is there before the cameras even finish counting down. Bright, practiced, perfectly placed. The kind of smile that has sold albums, filled arenas, silenced doubters. Kanye West steps into the light like he owns it, because for most of his life he has. Applause rises on cue, warm and automatic, rolling across the studio like a wave that knows exactly where it's supposed to crash. Jimmy Kimmel stands to greet him, arms open, grin easy, late-night casual. To anyone watching at home, this looks like comfort, familiarity. Another celebrity stop on another polished American night. But something is off. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It's a flicker, barely a second. When Kanye's eyes sweep the room and don't soften, they measure. They calculate. The smile stays, but it stops reaching his face. And in that tiny fracture, before the chairs are even pulled out, the night quietly chooses violence. Before this story goes any further, before the silence stretches and the tension tightens, hit subscribe to Fame&Frame. Like this video, drop a comment and stay with us because what unfolds next isn't just an interview. It's a slow-motion collision. And by the end of it, you'll never see late-night television the same way again. The music fades. The applause dims. Kanye sits. Jimmy sits. The desk between them suddenly feels smaller than it should, like the space itself is listening. Studio lights hum overhead, hot and unforgiving. Cameras lock into place, red lights blinking on like watchful eyes. This is live, or at least meant to feel like it. A controlled environment built to look relaxed, built to make tension dissolve into jokes, built for smiles. Jimmy opens with warmth, compliments, familiar rhythm. The crowd responds when they're supposed to. Laughter lands in all the right places. Kanye nods, offers short replies, keeps the smile glued on like armor. But the armor is heavy tonight. You can see it in the way his jaw tightens between laughs, in the way his fingers drum once against his knee, then stop like he's reminding himself where he is. This isn't Kanye's first rodeo. He knows the rules. He knows how these shows work. He knows the host plays friendly while the questions slowly sharpen. And Jimmy knows Kanye's reputation just as well. The genius, the unpredictability, the raw nerve, the man who can turn a stage into a confessional or a battlefield without warning. The audience senses it too, even if they don't know why. Their laughter comes a half-second late now. A few people glance at each other between claps. There's a stiffness settling into the room, thin but unmistakable, like the air before a storm when your ears start to feel pressure. Jimmy leans back, casual, conversational. He asks about music, about art, about ideas. Kanye answers, but his words feel guarded, wrapped tight. He's choosing each sentence carefully, like stepping across a frozen lake, testing every inch before trusting it with his weight. And then just for a moment the smile flickers. It happens when Jimmy pivots. Not sharply. Not yet. Just enough. A question framed like curiosity but edged with something else. Something that pokes at the boundary between genius and ego. Between confidence and control. The audience laughs because they think they're supposed to. The laugh track of real human voices fills the room. Kanye doesn't laugh. He tilts his head. The smile stays, but now it's thin. Brittle. The kind of smile you wear when you're deciding whether to let something slide or remember it forever. Jimmy keeps talking. He's good at this. Years of navigating celebrities who don't want to be challenged, politicians who dodge, actors who deflect. He keeps his tone light, hands moving, eyes steady. But there's a subtle shift in his posture now. He leans in just a little more, like he's testing how far he can go. Kanye's foot taps once, stops. The studio feels quieter, even though nothing has technically changed. Same lights, same cameras, same smiling host, same world-famous guest. But the mood has tilted. Something unspoken is pressing up between them, and neither man names it. Jimmy makes another joke. It lands, but not where it's supposed to. The audience laughs again, but this time the sound feels thinner, less confident. Kanye's smile doesn't move. His eyes stay locked on Jimmy, unblinking, searching, measuring. This is the moment most viewers miss. Because nothing explodes yet. No shouting. No walkout. Just two men sitting under studio lights, pretending this is normal. Pretending the temperature in the room hasn't dropped. Kanye finally responds. His voice is calm, controlled, almost gentle, but there's steel under it. He reframes the joke, corrects the implication, asserts himself without raising his tone. It's subtle but powerful. A reminder. I'm not here to be laughed at. I'm here to be heard. Jimmy nods, smiles, but now his smile is working too. The audience senses the shift again. You can hear it in the way the clapping stutters, starts, stops. A woman in the front row leans forward. Someone else crosses their arms. People are no longer just watching, they're waiting. The conversation moves on, but it doesn't escape what's been said. Every new question drags the weight of the last one behind it. Every pause stretches longer than it should. The desk between them might as well be a fault line. Kanye's smile is still there, but it's fading around the edges, like a photograph left too long in the sun. Each time Jimmy pushes, even gently, it fades a little more. And then Jimmy asks that question. Not aggressively, not cruelly, framed as curiosity, framed as concern, framed as something the audience might even agree with. It's the kind of question that sounds harmless, unless you're the one sitting under the lights already feeling boxed in. For half a second, Kanye doesn't respond. The silence hits harder than any insult. The studio goes still. No laughter, no applause, just the low hum of equipment and the sound of hundreds of people realizing they're holding their breath. Kanye looks down, then back up. His smile doesn't just fade this time. It disappears. Completely. His face hardens. The playful warmth drains away, replaced by something colder, sharper, real. The kind of expression you only see when someone feels cornered and decides they're done pretending otherwise. Jimmy senses it. You can see it in the way his shoulders tense, in the micro-adjustment of his chair. He tries to recover, to soften the moment, but it's already too late. The question is out there now, hanging between them like a challenge. Kanye leans forward. The audience doesn't move. Cameras zoom in. Somewhere behind the scenes, a producer probably mouths a quiet curse. Because whatever happens next, whatever Kanye says, whatever Jimmy does, this interview has crossed a line it can't uncross. And the night is only just beginning. The pressure tightens. The room breathes differently now. No explanations. No analysis. Just the moment swallowing itself. Clapperboard fire. Kanye leans forward, and the movement alone shifts the gravity of the room. It's small, barely a few inches, but it changes everything. The desk is no longer furniture. It's a barrier. A line. A challenge. His elbows hover near its edge, not resting, not relaxed. Ready. Jimmy doesn't interrupt. He can feel it. Every seasoned host learns this instinct early. The sense when a guest is no longer playing the game but rewriting the rules. The cameras catch Jimmy's eyes flick briefly to the side, maybe toward the monitor, maybe toward a producer who won't save him. Then he looks back at Kanye, smile still present, but tightened now, stretched thin over something cautious. Kanye speaks. His voice is low, even, controlled to the point of restraint. It's not anger yet, it's something colder. Something that suggests anger has already been considered and delayed. He answers the question but not directly. He circles it, dissects it, pulls it apart piece by piece, like he's laying a watch on a table and asking everyone to admire the gears. Every word lands with intention. No filler. No jokes. No smiles. The audience doesn't know when to react. A few people laugh out of habit, then stop, embarrassed by the sound of their own voices. The laughter dies quickly, awkwardly, leaving behind a silence that feels heavier than before. Jimmy nods along, encouraging, trying to guide the rhythm back to safety. He interjects softly, gently reframing, offering Kanye an exit ramp. But Kanye doesn't take it. Instead, he looks directly at Jimmy. Not through him. Not around him. At him. And in that look is a question that isn't spoken. Are you really going to do this? Jimmy shifts in his chair. He crosses one leg over the other, uncrosses it again. His hands move to the desk, fingers lacing, unlacing. These are tells. Tiny signals the audience doesn't consciously notice, but they feel them. The energy in the studio has changed. The air feels warmer now, thicker, like the lights have been turned up just a notch too high. Kanye continues, his words gaining momentum. He talks about respect, about perception, about how narratives are built and who gets to build them. He isn't shouting. He isn't ranting. That's what makes it worse. This is a man who has rehearsed these thoughts in private, who has waited for the right room, the right moment. And now he's found it. Jimmy tries humor again. A soft joke. A familiar move. Normally it would release the tension, give the audience permission to breathe. But this time it lands wrong. The joke hangs in the air for a second too long before a scattered ripple of laughter breaks out. It sounds forced. Obligatory. Kanye doesn't laugh. He pauses. Lets the quiet stretch. The silence presses against the walls, against the cameras, against the people sitting in folding chairs who suddenly feel like witnesses instead of spectators. When Kanye speaks again, his tone shifts just slightly. There's an edge now. Not sharp enough to cut, but enough to warn. He pushes back. Calmly. Firmly. He corrects Jimmy. Not rudely. Not loudly. But unmistakably. Each sentence feels like a boundary being redrawn in permanent ink. Jimmy nods again, but now there's tension in his jaw. He's still smiling, but it's the smile of someone managing a situation instead of enjoying it. He tries to steer the conversation elsewhere, towards safer ground, lighter topics. Music, creativity, inspiration. Kanye allows it. For a moment, the audience exhales collectively. You can hear it. The rustle of bodies shifting, hands relaxing on armrests. The tension dips, just enough to make everyone think the storm has passed. But storms like this don't pass. They wait. Jimmy asks another question. Innocent on the surface. But it brushes too close to the same nerve. The same theme. Control. Responsibility. Public reaction. This time Kanye doesn't wait. He interrupts. Not loudly. Just enough to reclaim the floor. His voice cuts in smoothly, confidently, and the interruption itself sends a jolt through the room. The audience stiffens again. A few gasp. Someone in the back whispers something to their neighbor. Kanye's words come faster now. Still measured, still articulate, but there's urgency beneath them. He speaks about being misunderstood. About being reduced to headlines. About the frustration of having complexity flattened into punchlines. As he talks, the camera cuts to Jimmy's face. His smile has stopped reaching his eyes entirely now. He listens, nodding, but there's a tightness there. A realization settling in. This isn't a segment anymore. This is a moment, and moments like this don't belong to the host. The power in the room has shifted. Kanye sits back slightly, finally resting against the chair. His hands move as he speaks now, punctuating his points. Not wild gestures, controlled ones. Deliberate. Each movement underscoring that he's fully present, fully engaged, and no longer willing to play along. The audience is silent. No laughter. No applause. Just attention. Jimmy tries to regain footing. He thanks Kanye for his honesty, acknowledges his perspective. It's respectful. It's professional. But there's a subtle defensiveness creeping in now. A careful phrasing that suggests he's choosing his words as carefully as Kanye is. And then Jimmy asks a follow-up. It's quieter than the others. Softer. But it's the most dangerous one yet. Because it implies judgment. Because it implies that maybe, just maybe, Kanye is the problem. The silence that follows is absolute. Kanye freezes. Just for a heartbeat. His eyes narrow, not in anger but in focus. The room seems to shrink around him, the lights suddenly harsher, the desk closer. He inhales slowly, deeply. When he looks back up, there's no smile left at all. Not even a trace. He leans forward again. And the way he does it makes it clear whatever restraint he was holding onto is about to slip. The audience senses it. You can feel the anticipation spike, sharp and electric. Somewhere, a producer's hand hovers over a control panel. Somewhere else, a clip editor is already imagining the headline. Kanye opens his mouth to respond. And in that instant, right before the words come out, you know this interview is about to cross from uncomfortable into unforgettable. Kanye doesn't raise his voice when he answers. That's the part that unsettles everyone the most. His tone is steady, almost quiet, but every word lands with the weight of something that's been held back for too long. The kind of restraint that isn't peace, it's pressure. He starts by addressing the implication directly, not dodging it, not softening it. He names it without naming it. The suggestion. The judgment. The idea that the chaos around him exists in a vacuum. detached from the systems that feed it. The audience feels it before they understand it. You can hear the shift, chairs creak, someone clears their throat. A cough echoes too loudly in the silence. This isn't entertainment anymore. It's confrontation stripped of theatrics. Jimmy listens, eyes fixed, nodding slower now. His posture stiffens. He's no longer guiding the conversation. He's reacting to it. The host's desk, once a symbol of control, feels suddenly ornamental. Power has slipped past it. Kanye's words sharpen. He talks about being dissected in public, about being laughed at when he's serious, about how questions are never just questions when they come from a place with an audience this big. He doesn't accuse Jimmy outright, but he doesn't absolve him either. The line he walks is precise, calculated, dangerous. The camera cuts to the crowd. Faces tight, brows furrowed. No one knows when to clap and no one dares to laugh. A woman in the front row presses her lips together. A man 2 rows back slowly shakes his head, unsure whether in agreement or disbelief. Jimmy finally interjects. He tries to reassert balance, reminding Kanye and the audience that the show is a place for open conversation, that questions come from curiosity, not attack. His voice is calm, professional, practiced. But there's a crack in it now. Just a hairline fracture that gives him away. Kanye turns his head slightly. Not away, just enough to show he's heard this argument before. He responds immediately. This time there's heat. Not explosive. Not chaotic. Controlled heat. The kind that burns evenly and thoroughly. He pushes back on the idea of neutrality, on the illusion that platforms like this exist outside influence. His words come faster now, overlapping Jimmy's attempted interruptions. Not shouting him down, but refusing to yield. Jimmy raises his hands slightly, palms open. A universal gesture. Easy. Let's slow this down. It doesn't work. Kanye's gaze locks in again, intense and unwavering. He leans forward so far now that the desk almost disappears from the frame. His voice drops even lower, forcing everyone to lean in with him. He speaks about respect. About boundaries. About how often he's expected to absorb jokes, implications, and half-smiles for the sake of someone else's comfort. The studio is frozen. No one breathes too loudly. No one moves. The tension hums through the microphones, through the cables, through the screens of millions of viewers who didn't expect to feel their stomach tighten during a late-night show. Jimmy tries humor one last time. It's instinctive. A reflex honed over years. A light remark meant to defuse, to remind everyone this is television, not a courtroom. The words leave his mouth, and immediately feel wrong. The audience doesn't laugh. Not a single sound. The joke dies where it stands. Jimmy's smile falters. For the first time all night, it fully drops before he can catch it again. The moment is brief, but the cameras don't miss it. Neither does Kanye. Kanye exhales through his nose, slow and controlled. When he speaks again, his words are fewer, but heavier. He says something that reframes the entire exchange. Something about how people confuse provocation with honesty. About how power hides behind politeness. About how being invited into a room doesn't mean you owe the room your silence. The room feels smaller now. Claustrophobic. Like the walls have edged closer. Jimmy straightens. He nods once. His tone changes when he responds, firmer now, less playful. He defends the role of the host, the responsibility to ask questions the audience is thinking, the need to challenge guests, even uncomfortable ones. This is the moment. 2 men, 2 philosophies, 1 desk, 1 audience. Kanye doesn't interrupt this time. He lets Jimmy finish, watches him carefully, expression unreadable. When Jimmy stops speaking, the silence that follows is longer than any before it. Then Kanye smiles. But it's not the smile from the beginning of the night. This one is sharp, brief, gone almost as soon as it appears. He nods once slowly, and then he says it. A line so clean, so direct, that it slices straight through the room. A statement that flips the dynamic entirely. That suggests the challenge goes both ways. That implies maybe, just maybe, the host isn't as untouchable as the desk makes him seem. The audience reacts all at once. Gasps. Murmurs. Someone audibly whispers, "Oh my God." A few people clap instinctively, then stop, realizing they're clapping at the wrong time. The energy spikes, chaotic and raw. Jimmy blinks. Once. Twice. For the first time, he doesn't respond immediately. The pause is deadly. You can almost hear the control room scrambling, producers weighing whether to cut, to redirect, to intervene. But it's too late. The moment has already escaped. Jimmy finally speaks, but his voice has changed. It's careful now. Guarded. He thanks Kanye for being candid, for sharing his truth. He suggests moving on. Kanye doesn't answer right away. He looks out at the audience instead. Scans the faces. The strangers. The witnesses. The millions watching from couches, beds, phones. Then he looks back at Jimmy. And the look says everything. This isn't over. Not tonight. Not after the cameras stop. Because the silence that hangs between them now isn't just awkward. It's loaded. Pregnant with fallout. With headlines. With clips that will be replayed, dissected, slowed down frame by frame. The band doesn't play yet. The cameras don't cut. Everyone waits. And in that suspended moment, where no one is sure who just won, or if anyone did at all, you can feel the aftermath rushing toward them, fast and unstoppable. Because once this ends, it's going to explode. The band finally plays, but it's too late. The music feels wrong, like it's arrived from another show entirely. Applause breaks out on cue, scattered and uncertain. Hands clapping because they're told to, not because they know what they just witnessed. Kanye stands. Jimmy stands. They shake hands, but it's brief, stiff, ceremonial. A handshake for the cameras, not for each other. Kanye turns and walks off first. The smile never comes back. As he disappears behind the curtain, the studio exhales all at once. Conversations erupt in whispers. People lean toward each other, eyes wide, replaying moments out loud. Did you hear that line? Did you see Jimmy's face? The host sits back down, posture composed, smile reassembled with professional precision. He tosses to commercial like he always does. Smooth. Controlled. But the room knows. Whatever just happened doesn't end when the cameras cut. Backstage, the air is electric. Phones are already out. Assistants scroll. Producers refresh feeds. Someone mutters that a clip is trending before the show has even finished airing on the West Coast. The words awkward, tense, uncomfortable begin multiplying like sparks. By the time Kanye reaches his car, the internet is on fire. Short clips hit first. 15 seconds. 20. The smile disappearing. The silence after the joke. Jimmy's pause. Kanye leaning forward. Captions explode across screens. This got real. You could feel the tension. Late night TV just changed. Twitter, no X, fractures instantly. One side crowns Kanye fearless, finally saying what everyone else dances around. Another calls it unnecessary, uncomfortable, inappropriate. Threads stretch for miles. Frame-by-frame breakdowns appear within hours. Body language experts weigh in. Fans argue. Haters pile on. Everyone picks a side. Jimmy trends next. Clips of his reaction circulate, slowed down, zoomed in, dissected. People argue over whether he crossed a line or simply did his job. Some defend him as a host who asked what others wouldn't. Others claim the desk became a shield, a symbol of power that finally cracked. The headlines sharpen by morning. Entertainment sites label it one of the most uncomfortable late-night moments in years. Commentators replay the exchange with dramatic music, calling it a clash of egos, a battle of control, a live TV standoff no one planned but everyone watched. Think pieces bloom overnight, each one more certain than the last about what it all meant. Kanye says nothing. That silence only feeds the fire. Fans search his socials for hints, decoding likes, reading into reposts, constructing narratives out of shadows. Some swear he planned it. Others insist he was pushed. Memes appear, then disappear, then resurface with darker edges. The smile, the pause, the line, all of it becomes cultural currency. Jimmy addresses it days later lightly, carefully, with humor wrapped around caution. He smiles when he mentions Kanye's name, but the smile doesn't quite reach his eyes this time either. He calls it a conversation. The audience laughs. But it's different now. Everyone knows better. Because conversations like that don't stay contained. They linger. They sit in the back of your mind the next time you see a late-night couch, the next time a host leans in with a harmless question, The next time a celebrity smiles just a little too long before answering, you start to wonder what's real, who's in control, where the line actually is. That night didn't explode with shouting or walkouts. Didn't need to. It burned slow. A smile fading. A silence stretching. Two men holding eye contact under studio lights while millions watched from the dark. And in that space between joke and judgment, between host and guest, something honest slipped out. Something raw. Something Fame and Frame exists to capture. Now it's your turn. Did Kanye cross a line? Or did he finally draw one? Was Jimmy challenging power or hiding behind it? Drop your take in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you want more stories where live TV goes off script, where smiles crack and moments turn legendary, subscribe to Fame and Frame and stay with us. Because the next uncomfortable silence is already waiting.